Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Cool. All right. Hey everyone. Hi. This is the largest group we've had ever in the history of this meetup group. So thank you all for coming. You guys are all awesome. The fact that you can go into downtown traffic, downtown parking, and actually open your mind to learn something new is amazing to me. So thank you all so much for your effort to be here. My name is Nelson. If I haven't met you yet, hi. I'm a customer success specialist over at Webflow. I've been web designing since 1995-ish. GeoCities. Anyone know GeoCities? Yeah. You're old, like me. So I've been designing websites ever since the GeoCities days before it was bought out by Yahoo. And I've been super excited and super interested in this industry of web design because it's always evolving. There's always something new on the horizon, and it never stops. So there's always something new to learn. So yeah, with that said, let me just give some thanks to other people. Come on, there we go. So big thanks to WeWork for letting us use this space. And of course, Webflow for sponsoring this, and San Diego Digital Designers for helping us create a community from this meetup group. If you haven't signed up for San Diego Digital Designers Slack channel, please go to sddd.org and you'll get an invite in from the admin lead. And yeah, really cool guy. And they do a monthly lunch meetup just to chill, hang out, network. But only limited to 10 spots, I think, so it's a cool, tight-knit group. All right. So, since a lot of new faces here, again, welcome. We do a monthly rotation, or quarterly rotation. So, we start out the month of the quarter with a web design critique session. If you have a project, portfolio, something you want to bring to the table and talk to people about and say, hey, what do you think? Get some feedback. That would be the time to do that. This is the workshop. We're creating a dynamic site without code in Webflow. And then next month, special guest, Virginia Upshaw from Calicut Appeal. She's going to show you how to brand yourself and stand out. All right? So I always like to start out by saying, like, why Meetup? Okay? And it's not just to learn, but also not just to learn software or code or design or whatever, it's to learn from everyone's successes and failures. To understand what's on the horizon for this craft of web design. Could it be mixed reality, virtual reality, augmented reality coming up for a web design? If you don't know yet, you can now browse the internet on your Apple Series 4 watch. Why? But we might have to start designing for that. It's a thing. I've looked into it, so there's a certain breakpoint. And lastly, just to make the web beautiful. So, first of all, what is Webflow? Who doesn't know what Webflow is? Cool. Anyone else? Okay, I'm actually kind of shocked and happy at the same time, because for the past two years of doing this meetup, it's usually people like, I don't know what this is, how does it fit into my workflow? Why should I even care? Why am I even here? So thank you guys. For show of hands, who heard about it from the internet? Just searching the internet for a different web design tool. No? Cool. That's one. So everyone else is like word of mouth from a friend or a classmate or something like that? Wow, the word is getting out. I love it. That's awesome. All right. So. For you, it's totally fine. What Webflow is a professional design tool that helps designers create websites without code, but you still need to understand the basics, the fundamentals of HTML and CSS, because it's not one of those things where it's like a WYSIWYG where you can drag something anywhere on the canvas and it sticks right there and creates bloated code. No, when you drag in a block, it does the same thing you would see if you were actually coding it by hand, but it happens in real time. Does that make kind of sense for you? Yeah? Okay, cool. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So what we're doing today, oh wait, one more thing. How many of you have already ventured into Webflow and built a dynamic site? 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So everyone is new here. That's awesome. Because today we're going to be building a blog database. And how many of you are scared of the word database? It's okay. You can raise your hand. That's cool. How many of you are scared of code? Perfect. I like that. It's okay to be scared of code. I'm scared of code sometimes as well. So we're going to be building a blog database. Then we're going to design a site using that database, okay, those database records. And then we're going to make it responsive, okay? And everyone knows what responsiveness is. It's make sure it fits on every size screen possible. And for bonus rounds, if we have time, we're going to add animations to it, and I'll give you a sneak peek at CSS Grid. Does anyone know what CSS Grid is?
Yep.
Cool. Cool. That's awesome. So I was showing CSS Grid, and it might blow your mind. So I only see one person with a helmet, so you're safe from the sneak peek. But yeah, do you guys think we can do the first four for the build a blog database sites and make it responsive in an hour and a half? Yeah?
Yeah.
Feel confident about it? All right, I like that. I like that confidence. All right, so that's the end of my slides. Okay, so first thing I need everyone to do is go to webflow.com and log in. And let me. All right, so once you're logged in, you'll see a dashboard. It probably have like empty or something. Who here doesn't have a Webflow account yet? Okay, please sign up real quick. So I may need you guys sometime soon to help people if, you know.
We can help
Okay.
if you need help.
Yeah, if you need help, just raise your hand. And Theo and Austin will help you out.
Try.
They're pretty cool.
We're already in a template. Should we back out of it? Or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we're going to use on one of the new free templates. All right. So after you've signed up, go ahead and click on New Project at the top right. And then, so you might need to help her. She's still getting onto the. After you, no you. You go ahead. So if we scroll down, there's these 4 new templates. These are all free. We're going to go to the CMS. Right, actually, we're going to go to this template right here on the very right called Noiseland. Noise. We're going to select the template, and you can name it whatever you want. We give you a we preloaded the name for you, but you can name it whatever you want.
Is that a paid one?
This is free. The Noiseland is a free template. Is anyone not seeing the template? Yeah. Oh,
I was just messing around.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and
delete this.
delete both of the sites.
All right. Got it.
Yeah, go ahead and sign up. Austin, the gentleman at the very end may need help because he's still signing up. So if you can catch him up and get the Noiseland template. The Noiseland?
Oh, no.
Noise.
The very corner on the left. So after you choose a template, you should see something like this. And so what we're going to do is build a database. Okay? Now, from here on out, I'm not going to call it a database. We like to call it a collection because it sounds nicer, right? Just a collection of data. It sounds nicer than a database. It's scary. SQL, PHP, and Word. No. So, right here, we have this icon. It shows CMS. So, go ahead and click that collection icon, or CMS icon, and let's press the plus sign at the top right here. This creates a new collection. Now, just like creating a Google spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, you're telling Webflow what your top first row is, your header row of a spreadsheet, okay? So let's first name our collection, okay? Let's just call it blog posts. And then the next line down, collection URL, you can give it any URL you want. I'm gonna call this blog post singular, just blog post, okay? And now this purple button right here, add new field. And let me know if I'm going too fast. This part right here, after you click on add new field, this is you just creating that top row, okay? So we've already added name, okay? That's a given, so that's required. So what's your other things? What else do you think a blog post has? Anyone?
Picture.
A picture? So all you would need to click on is image. Okay, and then we'll call this main photo or whatever you want. Okay, and when you're done, press save field. Congratulations, you made your second column in your collection. Let's go for one more. We'll go ahead and choose rich text because that's where your article is going to go. Okay? So rich text. So we have our name, our main photo, and our rich text. And we can call this article. And press save field. And we'll end it there. We'll just do that. So at the top right, click on create collection. All right. So you're on this screen right here. And so we've created the structure of our collection. Now we need to fill that with data. Now I'm not going to make you guys find data and put it in just dummy data. No, we can do that with one click so we can start prototyping now. So I want you to go ahead and click on add 10 items. And so what this is doing is pulling in lorem ipsum, stock photos, and whatnot. And once it's done, it'll look like this. And so just pretend you got all the client, your client gave you all these blog posts and then you put that data in, right? So there you go. You're already done making your collection. If you want to look into it, go ahead and click on one and see how it's structured. You can go ahead and take a gander at this. Go ahead and change some fields, change some data. See if you can find out how to add an image or something from your hard drive or a YouTube video. Have fun with this part. And while you're having fun, this is you editing your collection, aka database. It's not that hard. So has anyone put in an image or a YouTube video or something like that? I'd love to see it. Cool. Thank you, guys. Has anyone found that plus sign yet that lets you add stuff to articles? So go into the article. So go into one of your articles, press return or enter to go down to the next line, and you'll see a plus sign. Click on that and see what happens. So I'm going to do it here. Press return, and you'll see a plus sign. What does that mean?
But it's asking for
It's just like a wizard, like yeah, like WordPress, which
So So this is how you would edit blogs. This is how you would edit articles, add articles and whatnot inside of Webflow. It's been about 7 minutes, and we have built a database. Collection. Not that scary. So when you're done exploring, go ahead and save. Oh, you have questions?
Maybe I'll withhold for now.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was more of feedback.
Feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you hit the plus and then you have the toggles right here,
Yeah.
it's just, I'm thinking like, if you just told me what it was.
Yeah, a tooltip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that it? Unless I'm missing something.
No, that makes sense.
Okay.
We're actually working on an update on this one.
Cool. Other than that, it's great. Fantastic.
Yeah, it better be.
Fantastic.
All right, so click save, and now that we've created our blog post and created our collection, we can press the X at the top right to exit out of our collections manager. And that's how you make a collection. It's not that hard. So it's no longer going to, has anyone heard of my PHP admin or SQL or something like that? Yeah, exactly. It's confusing as that. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and, I'm going to use scary terms right now. Let's go ahead and connect the database to the website and designing all those elements from the database. Scary? Cool. Let's go ahead and create a new page. Click on the page button at the top left. And let's, let me delete one. Actually, let's do this. Sorry about that. Hold on real quick. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, so right here, oh, I forgot to show you guys the UI. There we go. Let me explain the UI real quick. Okay? Sorry, got ahead of myself. We're going to start from the left, go to the top, and then go to the right. Okay? So on the left, you have your main tools, okay? It's kind of like Photoshop, where you have your main tools on the left and you have your granular tools on the right. So the first thing we have is Add Elements. Okay? The Add Elements panel is like your big box of Legos. Okay? And you have all these bricks, and you can do whatever you want with them depending on the combination you put them in. Okay? And so all these bricks are just HTML tags, as if you would write stuff like, for the div block, you would type in the HTML tag of div, or a link block, which is the anchor tag, A, etc., etc. List item, that's UL or LI. For typography, you have your H1s, paragraphs, text links, and on and on and on. For images and videos, you can upload your own image, embed your own YouTube video or Vimeo without coding. And when you upload an image into Webflow, there is no FTP. You keep everything secure, so you're not doing that old FTP stuff where FileZilla is asking you to update every time you open it. So once you upload an image, it goes straight to an Amazon web server and Fastly CDN. So you're getting that speed and security immediately. So forms, if you want to create your own form, and components. So components is really cool because these are the major things that a lot of websites have that we've already pre-built for you. You just need to style it however you want. Stuff like site search, tabs, nav bars, drop downs, Google Maps, sliders, background videos. It's all right here. And if there's something that you still want to embed using code, like a code snippet from like a Twitter widget or something like that, there's this embed thing right here where you can put in code. Okay? Then we have our pages panel. It shows you all your pages. You can also mess around with, so you have static pages, stuff like for your one-offs, your homepage, your about us, contact us. Your utility pages, like if you want to password protect a page, or you want to customize your 404 page. And your collection pages. So whenever you create a new collection, we also give you a template page to work off of, and we'll do that soon. You've already played around with the CMS. E-commerce, Coming soon, not clicking it.
When's that coming?
Soon. It's one of our big features that's coming soon, not clicking it. Assets Manager, like I said, when you're uploading stuff into Webflow, it can be images, JPEGs, GIFs, GIFs, PNGs, Word docs, PDFs, Excel, yeah, it goes in here. And lastly, settings. So a lot of the settings are going to be moved into here, but right now as search. Later it'll have like e-commerce and all these other things you can play with. Any questions so far? Soon. I don't mind answering. All right, at the top bar, we have, again, Pages panel, but this toggle preview is pretty cool. So you can remove the UI and also see the interactions, the animations that happen.
Where is that?
This eyeball right here.
Yeah.
And because the web is responsive, and that's one of our taglines, designed responsively, here are your 4 main breakpoints. So you can go to tablet and take this and see what it looks like in between breakpoints. Mobile landscape and mobile portrait. Okay. Then you have your undo, redo, your save status. You can export the code if you have a paid account plan and you want to host somewhere else. And if you want to publish and host with us, we let you publish to a staging URL for free, which is whatever your site's name is, .webflow.io. Or you can pay for hosting, which you can attach your custom domain name to, and you just work inside of Webflow, press publish to your custom domain, and it's live. There's no FTP, no trying to figure out if your servers are beefy enough. It all works because we handle all the technical issues for you. We even add SSL certificates so your SEO is good and you're secure and all that stuff that we as designers don't really want to think about, so we can focus on our design. This is why we do this.
So you can post to your own host, is that it?
You cannot post to your own host through Webflow. You can attach your custom domain name to your Webflow project. If you want to use your own host, you export the code out to your desktop, unzip it, and then file FTP it up to your own server. Okay? All right. See ya. No problem. Okay, so styles panel. So, has anyone here written CSS for a whole website completely from scratch? You are a code ninja. Good job. All right. So this styles panel is most of the major CSS properties for web design, and it's shown in a GUI in a visual way. Okay, so when you're manipulating your styles here, you're writing CSS at the same time in real time, and we'll get into that soon. You have your styles, or you have your settings panel, so this depends on which element you're on. If you're on an anchor tag, a link tag, then you'll see a way to link to another page. If you're on like a H1, like this one's a heading tag right here, so I can change the heading type from H1 all the way down to 6, and so forth. Navigator. So this is kind of like Photoshop layers, but this is code. Okay, so you have blocks, you have chunks of code, and you can move that around on your code by clicking and dragging. Okay. 2 more. Styles Manager just shows you all the CSS class names that you've created. And last one, if we get time, interactions. This is what makes your fancy interactions happen. For example, if I press on this toggle preview, that load animation happens. And how many of you have seen the new webflow.com homepage? Okay, so, and for everyone else, I'm just going to let you guys take a gander real quick, but again, our lead brand designer and our 2 brand designers, JP and Ryan, have created this awesome new homepage. And again, they're graphic designers. They're mainly graphic designers. They don't know code, but yet they were able to create this without code, only using Webflow. Okay? So these are loading interactions. And if I scroll down, these are scrolling interactions. And also we have 3D things happening in 3D. And yeah, once you start to learn Webflow, it's really not that hard. So this is something that any graphic designer can create. So yeah, question?
The screens interacting with each other, they build that in Webflow or
Yes.
do they export video?
So the screens are. Let me open it. Let me open it again. Are you talking about these?
Yes.
Yes. Well, what was the question again?
That's cool. No, I was wondering if they made that or
So these are just screenshots from our tool, and they're just different elements, just different image elements they drag into the canvas, and they style it in a way that it's 3D, that it's laying flat in an angle. And we added interactions to it, so it moves based on where your scroll bar is. So again, this is not a video. This is real HTML and CSS. Yes, you can do this in Webflow without knowing code. But again, you need to understand the fundamentals of HTML and CSS. It's the same thing as if I were to install Photoshop, Sketch, or whatever, and I say, I'm a graphic designer, but I've never studied lighting, imagery, typography, layout, color theory. You know, I never studied any of that, but I just installed this thing and called myself a graphic designer. No, you can't do that. This is a professional tool. You just need to know these two things of HTML and CSS, and you're off to the races. All right.
To know about code that you don't.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit, you know? Anyone excited? Yes? Do you feel like you can take on the world with this? I want you guys to feel that. By the end of this, I want you guys to start playing around with it when you get home and like build the craziest thing you can think of. They said it wouldn't be loud.
Yeah.
Are you excited about Webflow? Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for closing the door.
Is there a code view?
Huh?
Is there a code view?
There, you can export, and I think this, so when you export the code, you can see the code. Okay? All right, so here we go. We're going to connect our collection to a page, all right? So let's first delete this guy right here. So I'm going to click on this first image, and as you can see at the bottom, we have our breadcrumbs of which element is in which element and so forth. So I'm going to click on Post Collections List Wrapper, this middle one right here, because that was an already built design, already built collection. So we're going to delete this example. And there we go. You should see this post wrapper right here. It's just a blank rectangle. All right? So now that we're here, let's drag in our own blog post collection. We're going to click on Add Elements and drag in the CMS. Okay, so this one right here, we have CMS collection list. Drag that into the rectangle. Yeah, sure, I'll do it again. So I'm going to click on Add Elements panel, scroll down to CMS, and drag this into the post wrapper. The post wrapper is already there, so you should see this. So you have to delete. So can you help them delete the collection list? Yeah. Because we're replacing that one.
So what you missed is the UI, which creates we also created
Okay, so from here,
over here.
it's asking us which collection do we want to pull data from. So this is the same thing if you've ever used WordPress or something. It's the same thing as saying connect database and tell me which database to pull from. So this is the same exact thing in a visual way. So I'm going to click on the drop down and click on the last one, which is the one we created together. Click on blog posts.
Create a field and do an image.
And
No problem.
And let's do 3 columns.
And
There we go.
And then one more.
So it should look like this. 3 columns all
And
squished.
rich text. If that
Right.
works.
Now we can close out of it.
And,
Now I don't want them squished, and so let's click on the post wrapper anywhere inside of the
and that doesn't.
blank rectangle. And we're going to edit our first piece of CSS. So click on the styles, paintbrush at the top right. And this shows us the CSS. So right now it's doing Flexbox. Let's not do Flexbox right now. We're just going to do a basic display block. So we're going to click this first one right here. Okay. And if you're not familiar with the box model, we have videos on our help site called university.webflow.com. I'll give you guys links at the end of this. But it'll teach you the basic fundamentals that you need to learn about Webflow so you can be more successful. Alright, so as you can see, our blog posts are there, but there's nothing inside. Okay? So, anyone here familiar with WordPress?
We're going to rebuild this.
Has anyone had to code or hack the code of a WordPress theme to make it work?
And then
Yes? Yeah? A little bit? So this is the same thing as the while loop in WordPress, okay? So until the end of the collection, show me all the records. But we're calling it CMS items. So when we do something with one of these CMS items, we're doing it for all of them at the same time. Okay? So let's go ahead and put in a link block. So add elements panel, and under basic, there's this link block. Drag that into any of the purple CMS items. And notice how it's happening on all of them. Okay? So now let's go ahead and make that collection page, make that link to the collection page. So we're going to click the purple page.
Can you slow down a little bit, Nelson?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm feeling left out. And
Huh?
behind.
Okay. You?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ready? All right. And now from here, we're going to choose our current blog post. So this is just saying, when I click this, go to the blog post that this is associated with. Okay? All right. So we're done with that. Now let's go ahead and make this display block because I want this to span the whole width of the column. Okay? So I'm going to click block, and there we go. It pushes all the way 100% of that column.
And then we see reading.
My Webflow doesn't have the grid.
So I'm going to show you at the end what grid is. Okay? All right.
Okay, so now we're just
Now let's go ahead and
select one.
write another piece of CSS. We're going to give this a height of
And then
250.
go to this.
250 pixels. So the height is down here.
Go to the brush.
On the right, it says height.
And then you're going to scroll down to height. And 250.
Okay. And now we're going to pull the photo from the collection. Okay. So we're going to go to the settings panel.
Width. Height.
And under dynamic style settings, you can set the text color from the collection. You can set background image and whatever. So play around with this when you get home. But for now, we're going to choose get background image. Select the field, and it's going to be the main photo. And if you notice, all the photos are different, but yet you've styled only one of the elements. So you're pulling that photo from the collection.
It's like craft and sketch.
I haven't played with craft.
Closer you go.
All right.
Now we're gonna add a background image.
So now let's go back to the styles panel, the paintbrush, and let's fix that background image. I'm gonna scroll down midway until we get to the background section.
And then
We're going to center this background so we can actually see the photo and squish it so you can see the actual photo. So let's go ahead and click on the image icon. So you have 3 choices. Choose the first one.
there you go. And then select, yeah, perfect. And now
So it's going to be tiled at
scroll down to
first,
the back.
but we'll set it to cover. Cover means it's going to stretch to cover the height and width of the element. And let's set the position to the center. So this center box right here. Center box right here. And there we go. Now we can see all of our images.
How do you link the image to the background?
The styles, settings panel.
Uh-huh.
The settings. The settings there.
Ah, okay.
And then background image.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Anyone have any questions so far? Anyone like kind of seeing the power of Webflow? Just a little bit. Yeah? It's getting there? It's settling? Yeah.
Okay, so then.
All right. Now, these rows are too close together, so we need to add a bottom margin. In CSS, you would write margin dash bottom colon whatever number, and then px, and then semicolon. Yeah, that's. Let's do it visually.
Yeah, he's streaming as well.
So you can go up to the box model right here, and we have our margins and our paddings. So we can drag one of the margins, and again, if I make a change to one, make a change to all. And it's happening in real time. So you're dragging that thing, it's writing CSS, happening in real time. You're not coding in the code editor, saving it, going to your browser and press refresh. This is real code. All right. Yeah. So yeah, let's put the. Actually, we'll just leave it like that. Let's make this a little bit fancier. Let's scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to add a filter to it. We're going to make it black and white on the normal state, and then when you hover, it turns back to color. Okay? So add filter on the bottom right. And I don't want blur. You can choose whatever you want, but I'm going to choose grayscale and set that to 100. I'm going to X out of it. Okay, so grayscale 100. And instead of doing the hover where it's just like on off, there's no real smooth transition, I want some sort of timer to make it a smooth fade between grayscale and color. So let's go ahead and click the stopwatch under transitions and transforms. And we'll leave it as default 200 milliseconds. And again, if you want to go home tonight and mess around and play around with the ease, really crazy thing right here. I know, it's like Webflow is a rabbit hole of crazy fun tools. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. I'm gonna click outside of it. Oh, oops, I messed up. Sorry.
Let's see where you got
Yeah.
the password.
Let's try it again. So click on that thing again. Got excited. Click on opacity, and we need to find filter in the drop-down menu, because that's the CSS we want to affect. We didn't add any opacity effects to it, we just added filter, so that's why we need to target that only. Anyone lost? Anyone need help? We good? Good. Cool. All right, last thing for this. We're going to go to states. At the very top right, we have states. So just like in CSS, you would do like class name, colon hover, or colon focus, colon press. visited. You can choose those states right here. So we're going to go on hover. Now, at the top right? Yep, thank you. And so, you have your hover, and now let's go all the way back down to effects. And there's an eyeball for grayscale. Let's just close that eyeball. And there we go. And lastly, I want you to press preview. Wow. It didn't go grayscale. Oh, that's weird. Hold on. Okay. So when you press preview, is it grayscale for you guys? No? Okay, so what you need to do is go back to states and click on none. Go back to states and click on none, and then preview. And then you can hover over all your stuff, and it should change colors. Is someone else, if your thing is not changing colors, let me know. You good? You good? All right, you've already passed the first two parts of this tutorial, this workshop, and it's only 6:13.
I think you have to go back.
Can you?
When you go to
Oh, never mind. Oh, okay. It probably started as black and white, and so the source, was black and white. So sorry about that. But yeah, so what is it like? 6 or 5:30. So like 43 minutes. I did an intro. You guys built a collection. You guys connected that collection to a web page. You guys used CSS to create a hover effect without coding. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yes. This is why I'm crazy for this tool, because I don't know about you, I feel empowered by it. And yeah. So last thing is we're going to go into a actual blog post page, because if you click on one right now, it's blank. So go ahead and click on one, anyone, while you're inside of the preview mode, and you should get a blank page. That's totally fine. Let's get out of preview mode. So now we're editing the collection template page. So when you click on one, this is your shell. We just need to add the data and the styles to this shell. Okay? So we're going to make a very, very basic page. Okay? Let's go ahead and press plus. And let's go ahead and put a section. And let's make this section height, let me guess, 350? Yeah, 350 is good. We'll do 350 on the height. And just like I showed you how to put a dynamic background image, let's do the same thing to this. Okay? So let's go to settings at the top right, settings cog. We're going to pull the background image from the blog posts. Select the field main photo. Okay. Go back to styles. And we're going to set the position of this. So again, we're going to set it to cover and in the center. So how we do that is go down to the background. Click on the image. Set to cover, centered, just like that. Cool, cool. Let's click outside of it. And now, inside that section, let's go ahead and add another element inside of it. Let's drag in a heading. So this is like your H1. Okay? Drag it inside. And now you have this purple box that says get text from blog posts. This is how you bind text into one of your elements. Okay? So I'm going to check mark that and tell it to pull from the name field. And there you go. You can click outside. And now we can design this however we want. So what I want to do is put it in the very center, vertically and horizontally, of this section. So we need to use a thing called Flexbox. Anyone know what Flexbox is? Cool, cool. That's totally fine. So again, if you know the basics, you don't really need to know the advanced because you can understand it from Webflow. So let's go ahead and click on the section, our background image. And there's these 3 columns right here, and it's called Flex. Okay, go ahead and click it. And now we're going to set this to justify center and this vertical right here. So these icons may look similar to you for a bunch of graphic designer tools. If you want to align something in the very middle of an element. So we have these 2 selected. And let's go ahead and scroll down to typography, and we're going to change this to white. You can just type in white in the color of typography, or you can change it to any color you want by clicking on the color, and you have the color picker. It's up to you, however you want to design it. It's your world. I'm just telling you how to design it. Is anyone here? Oh my God, there's people watching. Cool. Hello. Hello. This must be basic for you, chat. All right. So now that we've done that, we're gonna let's do 3 more things. Oh yeah, go for it. Good question. So the question is, can you use your own custom fonts, custom typefaces? I'll go over that at the end, but yes, you can. You can pull from a Typekit, your Typekit account. You can upload your own, or you can select from Google Web Fonts. Okay. All right. Next, let's go ahead and bring in a container. I'm going to drag this container in, and I'm going to put this under the section. Okay, I'm dragging it under the section right here. And so a container is just a pre-styled div block. Okay, it's just an HTML tag of div. And it's pre-styled with CSS that makes it 940 width and margin auto on both sides. And then we've already pre-styled it with a certain width for the smaller breakpoints. And yeah, so that's all it is. So for this container, it's too close to the hero row, the section at the top. So let's push it away, however many pixels that you want, using the top margin. And from there, let's go ahead and add another element, and it's the rich text element. So we're going to drag that inside of the container. And just like how we did for the title of the blog post, pull the text from the article, or whatever you named it for your rich text field. Okay. Now, there's this new drop-down menu right here next to your page. You can see what all your other pages look like. So you've built the shell, and now you've pulled the data into your shell, and you designed it however you want it. Any questions so far? So again, that was what?
What happens if I'm not seeing that pop up?
Which pop up?
The article. Do we add in create printer?
You need to create a rich text field?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's inside, so you can tell if it's on that. That makes sense? Makes sense? Cool. You guys liking it so far? Nice. Have you guys built a website before? No? Well, you are now. So you can say, when you're done, you can say, here's what I say, you've made a dynamic web page.
Switch over. I just switch over.
So she mentioned that she would be a web graphic designer. And I'll tell you a personal story real quick before we move on to the next part. All right? I started as a web designer learning code. But I saw all these fancy websites being built, and I always wondered, how can I build that cool thing? And then Flash came out. How do I build cool things with Flash? And so on and so on. But I was mainly focused on the code because I wanted to know how to make things function. But whenever I designed something, it would look crappy, and I would never like it. And I'm always wondering, why does it suck? Why does it suck? And then I met my wife. She's a traditionally trained graphic designer, graduated at SDSU. She does packaging, branding, and stuff like that. And she doesn't like web, she doesn't like code. But then we learned off each other. Okay? And I've taught her Webflow, and now she's more confident to make her own websites, dynamic websites. And for me, I learned off of her the things that I was missing, those fundamentals of graphic design, layout, typography, and stuff like that. And now I'm making things kind of good, but you know, it's not gonna be like that awesome as a graphic designer. And so what I truly believe in this. Graphic designers are the best web designers. You don't have to worry about crazy JavaScript or whatever. Just build something like Webflow.com's homepage. You can focus on your execution and see your things happen in real time without having to worry, am I coding it right? Is it gonna work cross-browser? Is it gonna work cross-device? We handle that for you so you can focus on making great art. And again, we don't wanna see any more templates. Make something unique, make something that makes you stand out. And that's what I really mean by make the web beautiful. So, yeah.
I'm sorry,
moving on, so the last thing we gotta do,
So you can see the plus sign over here.
Website, did you guys put that in the section on how you guys?
The typography box, you can just drop type.
good question. He asked, is the Webflow.com homepage how we built it in our university site? No, it is not, but I've broken it down in a couple of videos on how to do some of those things. So every other Tuesday, I stream on youtube.com/webflow on how to build something cool, you know? So subscribe to it, hit the bell, and it's every other Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And yeah, and also I stream on my own personal site, or on my own personal YouTube channel, youtube.com/pixelgeek, and I try to do that every other night when my daughter goes to sleep, so around 9:30-ish. Yeah, family first. So, and if you want to return to this video, which you guys are in, you know, you can go to my YouTube channel. There you go. Plug for myself. Yay! All right. So the last thing we're going to do before we take a break is make this responsive. Make sure that, again, it's cross-browser, cross-device compatible. And let's do that on the home page. So let's go back to the home page by clicking on page at the top left. Clicking on home.
Control the stuff inside of it. So
okay. And if we scroll down to what we've built, you can click on the next breakpoint at the top center, which is tablet.
Your container must only be that big. And it keeps
Okay.
pushing it.
So
Yeah.
it still kind of
So
fits your
that
tablet, right?
You can change the container size
So I guess
to be bigger.
we can say we're done with this one.
Change.
Let's go to
Click the
mobile
container and then
landscape.
scroll down.
So it's kind of already done, but let me show you
You
the
passed it.
Webflow's
options that you
good.
get. Yep.
I'm not
So
sure why.
here, let me show you some options. If you click on one of the collection items, so it's click on one of the gaps. Click on one of the gaps.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's some.
And then go
thing
to the
blocking
settings.
it. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's fine.
Oh, you can't. Yeah. My bad. So you can't set it on collection lists, only on static ones. Lesson learned. So Webflow already set up a lot of stuff to be responsive for you. So let me give you a different example. Sorry about this. Let's do this. Let's just play around with text, because I want to show you how to create styles for one breakpoint and how it leads down to the next breakpoint, and then how to create new styles for that on. Okay? So for this desktop version, I'm back at the styles panel and I click on this H2. We have certain styles in the typography right here. So go ahead and change that however you want. So we're changing this for the desktop on down. So you can change this however you want. Change the typeface, change the color, go nuts with it. Cool. I'm going to do something like that. Just change it. So I change it for this, and when you're done changing, go ahead and move on to the tablet. Okay? And so, as you can see, all your typography is now orange instead of blue. Okay? These icons are now orange. When it's orange, this means, hey, I'm pulling styles from the previous breakpoint. Okay? But let's override that. For tablet on down, let's change it again. Change it to anything you want. Okay? So when you're done, you can go back to desktop and see that your changes from your desktop didn't change, because that's how CSS is. It cascades down. CSS means cascading style sheets. So I made a change here. If I go down to next breakpoint, I've overwritten it with a different color in a different typeface. And we can do the same thing for mobile landscape. So if you know mobile landscape, change it however you want. And
Alright, you gotta change what the image is.
yeah. And then you can change it again if you want to on mobile portrait. So all I'm showing you right now is how you can make styles responsibly.
Is there a way to refresh them all if you want? Like, do you want to reset all of them to go back to the top?
Yes. So the question is, what if you made a style change on a lower breakpoint and want to reset them to what was the previous breakpoint? And the answer is clicking on any of the blue icons. For example, this one, font color. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to click remove this style. So now it's pulling from the previous breakpoint. Okay?
So you gotta put the
And assign it. Okay, cool. So,
And I'm going to show you one more cool trick. Let's see here. Let me just review this real quick.
no, you gotta select the container. So flex. Sorry, you have to remember that for the box. So this is
So one cool trick
so
you can do with the font sizes
impacts
to make
the
sure
fonts
that
of it.
your line
Instead of
breaks
just moving the thing inside of it around.
stay put like this. For example, if I drag this like this, notice how it's 2 lines here, now it's 3 lines, now it's 4. If you want to keep
A bowl of cereal and put one Cheerio.
something like three
Controlling the milk and
Right.
3 lines, you
Yeah.
can do something called viewport width for your size. And let me just check which size real quick.
the other ones.
Okay, so in the typography, you can put 8 VW, no space, 8 VW and press return. And then if you play with the sizing, you've created responsive type. And that almost works.
What do you want to?
And you can play around with that number, like 7 or, yeah, I think 7 is better. So yeah. You can also play with your line height, something like 8 VW. And so, there you go. Creating stuff responsibly.
Is that the same as view height?
Viewport
Viewport.
height and viewport width, VW, VH. Yeah. Those are such lifesaver
Yeah.
sizes. Ugh.
No more math.
Yeah, yeah. I never did well in math. So again, congratulations, you guys. If you haven't made a web page before, you have now. You've made a collection, aka database. You've connected that to a page. You've made your site responsive in under an hour. Okay, let's start like 5:45 or something. So in under an hour. How do you guys feel right now? So after we take a break, we'll say like a 10-minute break, 6:35. Let's do this. I will show you guys interactions, and we'll try to make one, an interaction again. And I can do something crazy like Webflow.com. We're just going to do something simple like a click effect. If you click something, it'll pop or something. You know how clients always say make it pop? Well, here, I'll show you how. And after that, I will show you guys Grid. And I think that'll blow your mind because that's not out yet, but it's coming soon. And yeah, so thank you guys so much.
Beautiful. Good job, Nelson.
Thank you.
Good job.
Be right back, chat. You're in the chat room?
I am in the chat room, yeah.
I need 2.
Oh, I don't see it.
You didn't chat today, no?
I did. I said hi. Did not
2 of my
notice.
coworkers here. Hi, Hunter, Anna.
What's going on, Tom?
Yeah. Anna is a QA specialist.
No problem.
And Hunter is.
It's getting into a zone.
So,
Yeah.
I missed the part where you
Fine.
hover foods or
Yeah. So, states, top
You
right.
hand them something with code, and they go, why do you think
Cover.
I'm not going to use it.
And let's go ahead and turn
So,
off, scroll all the way
just
down.
bear with me a second. So, for instance, you turn
Turn off
on
the
green
tail by
light,
pressing the
we've got better and better at
eyeball.
in giving better code, but it's also a little
So now go back to the states.
not just elegant
You
producing.
can actually do it on.
Now, the big reason I changed is I was chatting with somebody up in LA, I went to work camp,
Are you on Twitter?
but separately ran some guy, you talk about UX,
Good job.
versus
So all we were doing is
weird cloud design.
Yeah.
So UX is about,
basically
those party problems
if
that
that's
are,
the
yeah, you have to Webflow.
settings apply just to that.
Yep.
So far, I
Just moving a little quickly.
Yep.
Before
now what I see, it's design oriented, not necessarily plotting architecture.
Cool. So how do you feel?
That's cool. So,
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't usually have developers trouble, navigating a little bit or whatever, but
Yeah, some do.
I've been dealing with a lot with WordPress over the last year or two. Had my battles and,
Well, for instance, I have assets in here. Can you export the assets out of here? Yeah, so you can export
Yeah.
the site.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for coming, and I think this will make your life
I think that all comes down to
but a
communication.
lot easier.
You gotta talk to the
Because
developer
this
and
is
say,
just
this is what I
the
need.
tip of the iceberg. Just
I
making
mean,
a
what's nice
collection
about that
is
kind of
just
workflow,
like the tip.
Yeah.
Because then you can
Webflow is,
go nuts.
it's not staff.
So nuts,
When you
because
give
like
somebody
there's also
CSV, and you
collection
have an idea of what's supposed to happen, then you
references.
explain
So you
it
can
in 15 different ways,
connect
and they
two
do it
collections,
totally wrong.
2 or 3 collections together to have this relational database workflow type of thing. I mean, our university.webflow.com, that's our help site. That's built on Webflow. So we dog food everything.
And the voiceover is really, really good.
Oh yeah,
The guy's
McGuire is hilarious.
It's a voiceover person like doing the
I
tutorials.
agree, I don't understand why people do that. Drive me
well, that's it.
Yeah, it's like it's such a nice voice to listen to. Like, people
design
think
in
like,
the form and change, no, I think I'll make it one pixel long too. Last minute, change this and that, I'm doing universal stuff, I pick finally deciding, once I'm done, deciding what I wanna do. I export, PDFs. And then if I need an extra home page, I click through linearly and I show home page, and then show menu. And I want to show how it looks like when the menu's back up. I simply duplicate the home page and just make this a page thing with interactions. That's all I've been doing. But the biggest reason is because I do freaking font direction. And so this is getting really close to me because this is to me is much more like Illustrator. It feels already like it's more comfortable as it Photoshop file. Unless I use it for another 5,000 hours, then I'll be as agile as anybody. But to me, it's a very boxed-in environment, to design. I could think ahead and work in it. I could do it.
What I found is, what you're about to say is, if I go straight to canvas, I sound like I will get caught up in like mainly like work details instead of knowing how to kind of like easily lay out elements in. So I'll always like sketch something out, even if it's not the wireframe of the world, and I'll take it from everyone else. And honestly, it's fun because the quicker you get just like you just want it, knock out like you get it, a rough prototype of it, and then you just spend an hour or two and you're like, oh crap, like this is amazing, this is amazing. And then you go back to your
Yeah, if you can hang, at least you get the reward that way. Photoshop, you can get it.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to lock a folder. Now I'm changing things I didn't want to. It's just so tough. And yet that was a grill move. Otherwise, what do I do? I mean, how many people don't want the code from this, but this looks like it has, it feels kind of, it feels like it just went out. Well, you might not even need a developer depending on what you do. Well, that's true. That's why I was working on it. I'm thinking maybe this is how I develop it. I mean, so the company I work for, everything we do is in WordPress, and it's awful. And I constantly tell people that they need it. Just got a dirty look. Oh, okay. In WordPress, like our developer, he's the guy I used to work with. He was super good at it. Use WordPress as
Yeah, I live in Escondido.
Are you buddies with Nelson?
Yeah, it's funny. I heard about Webflow before I started working, and I had some different Nelson.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, what's San Diego number? He's like, I live in San Diego. Do you want to meet up and grab coffee? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
And so then that probably happened like 2 years ago, and then like we bumped into like other places.
Yeah.
You always answer support requests.
So it's like he literally helped you out with the problem you have.
Yeah.
I guess we'll be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was equipped to stay with
Yeah, I've only ever been up to
So WordPress does have some tools
Temecula
like
or to go to Stone Brewery.
visual web builder
I'm like 5
that
back rows
you
and
can
stuff.
use
So
to
I
do
don't go there as
something
much
similar
as
to
I
this.
probably could.
Yeah.
I should, but I'm like,
Well, yeah, I feel like it's like we have one here, and it's like I don't go
And then I
there.
went to
Gutenberg,
But
yeah.
it looks like a lot of other tools around the area.
Well, it's
a lot of people
there's things around
It's
here
brand
that
new.
are also
But what they're doing is they're
all
trying to
breweries and Vista and stuff like that. So
Right,
like
right.
beer to beer,
they're
I think
trying
it was really
to
Vista
make
has
it
like the
that
highest
sort of
breweries per capita.
trying to
Like,
answer
like City, California, or it's like on the West Coast or something like that. There's something like 32 breweries.
So I started to sprint
on a
and
square mile thing. They're just like in like office parks.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
It's
like,
kinda
oh, there's a
cool.
brewery here. And you're like, and there's another one right across the street. Like,
Right by the Mattress Discounter place.
Yeah.
or whatever, like,
Yeah,
it's
it's-
parking lot. Or
it's
whatever.
really interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is like up in. I
Sounds
mean,
cool.
obviously we have like
You can
but in like
they actually
Torrance,
had a
California
tool
too. It's also
you
like
could
kind of
design a
same.
site.
I kind of like that aspect of it because that's where breweries kind of get their like footing.
that was
Like,
a-
big warehouses and on like more affordable land.
Yeah, and you would
And like North Park is hip and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
You live in North
Yeah.
I live in Normal Heights, which is like
I mean,
close by. But
mostly
it's
what
nice,
I was
like I
doing
guess it's nice to have
at
two
the
different
time, we
types
also had a
of brewery
developer
crawls. You
that
know,
was just
you got the
developing. So, but I was doing something very similar to you,
where you're
where I was
different.
designing
Yeah.
it all in
Yeah.
InDesign, exporting a PDF, and giving it to them.
Are you live streaming right now?
Yeah, let's see if I can chat.
Right, this is, I mean,
Looks like
I'm
Chad's
just
done
doing a lot of InDesign. I can, move stuff around and,
They probably just stopped as soon as
I
I
can
came up
tell
on the screen.
already
That
something's good going
So you feel
on.
confident with this?
yeah.
Attempting to say that.
These power strips are connected. We have
Oh yeah, there's nothing that can be better.
Yeah,
But I think that
But I mean, I really like Webflow, but
Do you work with
we
them?
don't use it at all.
It's not always worth
Like I
So
keep
yeah,
like
like
showing
civil
them.
signs, that can just-
You gotta convince
I literally sent a support ticket to Webflow, and my phone number was in like my email signature. And this was about like 2 years ago, I think. And Nelson was like, "Oh my gosh, San Diego area code." He's like, "I live in San Diego too." And like he answered my question. He's like, "If you ever want to meet up and like grab coffee sometime, talk about Webflow," and I'm like,
Have you checked out?
"Well, yeah, sure."
I think you're
And then I bumped into him like a bunch of other places, and now we live like pretty close together, so we'll bump into each other in the same coffee shops and stuff like that.
It's a Slack.
And he always answers my questions about Webflow, so that helps.
Do you guys work downtown a lot? Or?
I live in Escondido, so I kind of
it's the first time
I kind of stay like San Marcos Escondido area when I'm working most of the time. I used to live Carmel Valley, so I like heading out to the coast like occasionally and stuff like that. But and I'll even like honestly, one of my clients is downtown, so I'm generally down here at least like once or twice a week, just like meetings down in East Village and stuff like that. Are you downtown?
No, I mean I'm closer to Mission Valley.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I forgot the name of
Alec Gardens.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Right over there.
Yeah, this is
Right across from the state. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
So,
it's,
yeah, I mean,
it's
I'm
small now, but
shooting, across
people
town,
there
downtown.
are usually
Yeah.
pretty helpful.
Right next to a freeway.
Maybe do East
Go
County as
everywhere.
long as
Yeah.
there's some good AC somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially out there.
I don't know why.
Get toasty.
I just can't.
But this year's not as bad.
Well,
We've
have you ever used?
had some hot summers, and this is not really up to
For me, it's
Not yet.
Instagram.
I'm
with
getting
Slack, and
I'm
that's
getting a shock because I used to live in Carmel Valley, like Delaware area, and then I moved to Escondido. And I was mentally prepared. I'm like, it's gonna be warm. And it's gonna be warm like a lot longer, like later into the year. But it is warm, and I park outside, and my car is like black with black window, like with black interior, and literally I'll get it, and I'm just like, the air tastes hot. Like when you get in a room and the air is just like hot, and you're like, it is thick, and it is. And I'm like, this is how it feels when I get in my car. I'm immediately like, you're like, I'm not gonna sit back into the
make a
seat,
turn and-
max AC, the steering wheel is burning. Yeah. It's
But I'm starting to
yeah. I mean, everywhere I go,
It's
I'm
the
always
same
looking
tool.
for a tree
So
to
once
park
you get
under.
something,
And,
so let's say for
yeah,
instance,
my AC's out.
and then what happens is it goes and it shows up on
Yeah.
burn your phone.
As long as I find a tree, I'm like,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, you got a
I just got one of those like
You know, next time
windshield
you
like
have a phone,
shade reflector inserts,
Oh, yeah,
and that helps a little bit. Like
I recommend
makes it bearable,
This kind
which
of
is good.
What am
but-
I?
Yeah,
What do I want to do?
As long as you got the Some airflow in there.
Yeah, seriously.
This can do that.
Get started with the second part.
Twitter?
Since we have some time bonus round.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter too. That's the other one that I kind of do for business.
You'll see what you see my picture.
So what we're going to be doing is
See that picture.
adding an interaction to some of our elements on the page. Now, interactions is usually done using like jQuery, or you find some JavaScript plugin over on another website, or like CodePen, and you just copy paste and fiddle around with the code and think, does this work? Does this work? Does it work? But in Webflow, again, everything's in real time. So let's make it pop. So what we're going to do is let's go back to our home page on the desktop view. And let's go ahead and go to the navigator, and you're going to see a layer, or you're going to see an element called 3 posts. Okay? And again, make sure you're in desktop view. So 3 posts, and go ahead and Command C. Who's using Windows? Okay.
Oh, I think he's
Get
gone.
out.
No,
It's okay. No, it's okay. Control C, copy. Okay, so we're going to copy that. So you can copy elements from one page or another, or you can copy elements from one site to another site that you own. Okay, so yeah, that's one of the new things.
Yeah.
Yep, like you have a style guide project, and then you can just pull from there and pull from there. Pretty cool. All right, so we're gonna copy 3 posts. Let's go to our blog post template. So clicking on pages at the top left, and clicking on blog post template. So this is the shell. This is the template that we built earlier. Now let's click on the body inside the navigator. This is our body tag, and we're going to paste inside of it. Now if you scroll down on the page, you have that same thing that you made with all the styles and everything. So you don't have to redo what you just did. Okay? So this way people can navigate to the other blog posts. Now, since we're on one of the blog posts, we don't want to show the current blog post in this list, right? If we're here and then we show it again and they click on it and it's the same page, that's a weird UX, right? So let's filter out this current blog post. So I'm going to open up this until I can see the collection list wrapper, okay? So you can just press the drop down arrows for each element until you find collection list wrapper. Click on that and go to the settings right here. And now we can filter out. So if you scroll down a little, you can filter out the blog post that we're currently on. So press the plus sign for filters, and drop down, we're going to select blog post at the very top in the menu. And we're going to set this to if the blog post is not the current blog post. Show it. And click save, and there you go. It removes that one that I'm on. So the skateboarder guy, I can't see him. If I move to another one, so the fox is not here, but the skateboarder guy is here. So I've just filtered out this list. Okay, now the user can move about however they want on the site. All right, let's make things pop. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the first blog post. Click on the lightning bolt. And so we have element triggers and page triggers. We're going to focus on element triggers. What a trigger is, you know, if I click on it, that's my trigger. If I hover over it, that's another trigger. If I have a mouse movement while inside the element, like kind of like that Apple TV effect, you know what I mean, where the card does this weird 3D thing. Scroll into view when you scroll down and then the thing shows up, or while scrolling into view. That's the thing that we did in the webflow.com homepage. Okay, so this is a trigger. So let's create our first trigger, and we're going to do scroll into view. And now we have actions for what happens when you scroll into view and what happens when you scroll out. Let's make this simple and just do the scroll into view. And like I said, go down to emphasis, and we're going to make it pop. I wasn't joking when I said make it pop. Let's set the offset to 20%. Okay? And what this offset is we don't want to see it pop right away when it gets to 1 pixel into the screen. We want to wait until 20% of the screen, and then it pops. Okay? Click on preview in PowerPoint. Yay. But yeah, you can play with any of those actions that you want, like grow big, flip, flip out, flip in, flip out. Okay, you don't want to do that one. So yeah, you have a lot of things to play with here. Okay? You can play with jiggle, pulse. What does jiggle do? Totally PowerPoint. Make it bounce. Spin? Oh God. I'm going to leave it as pop, but there you go. So now, if I scroll all the way to the top, and I preview my page, when I scroll down, it pops. When I scroll down here, it pops. We just added an interaction. So we're going to do one last interaction that a lot of people, a lot of agencies, a lot of clients love to say, and I don't do it. Parallax scrolling. You guys hear it all the time. Can you make a parallax scroll? Yeah. And here's the thing, with all this power, just like Spider-Man, comes great responsibility. Please don't Michael Bay your sites. You have all this power to animate everything. If the animation has no purpose behind it, has no storyline, don't mess up my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Don't mess up the site, okay? Don't Michael Bay. So, sorry, rant. Let's do something. Let's do something crazy. Let's see here. What I'm going to do is when I scroll down, I'm going to make this guy right here move horizontally as I scroll down. So I'm Michael Baying this. Yeah, don't do this. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Element trigger. Click on the rich text block, and we're going to set an element trigger. And we'll do while scrolling in view. Click on action. And notice how for this action, we don't have the preset pop, jiggle, fly in stuff. This is where you would make a custom animation. So this is when it gets really crazy with Webflow. We're going to press play scroll animation. And under scroll animations, we want to press plus. You can name your animation whatever you want. I'm just going to leave it as new scroll animation. Now, I'm going to press the plus sign for the animation and set the transform to move. And now on the x-axis, I can drag this to however far you want. I'm going to say this far. And then at 100%, I'm going to move it the other way. Now if I live preview, and I scroll down, you can see you've done scrolling interactions. So that's the real name for parallax scrolling. And did you do any JavaScript? Does anyone near here know how to code this? No. You're designers. It's okay. It's fine. So when you get home, mess around with this as much as you want. Play with the animations, add more keyframes and stuff like that. Yeah?
I didn't finish the whole thing. It was good. Which one? Ram, Seagull. Oh, yeah.
I've heard
I
a
didn't.
lot of people were like, yeah, it's just sweet.
Yeah.
So that's just, again, the tip of the iceberg for interactions. Just a trigger that says if something happens, a click, a hover, a scroll, a mouse movement, then an animation happens. That's all it is. So lastly, this is not part of the tutorial because no one has access to it, but I will show you a preview of CSS Grid, okay?
What kind of timeline are we looking on this?
October, early October.
Okay.
Yeah.
October 2018.
All right.
Ish.
It's
So,
been burnt too many times.
so as you notice, when you're creating a layout with Webflow, you have to stack boxes on boxes. And it's hard to create a very customized layout where you have boxes, overlapping boxes, and so you have to do flex box and position absolutes and all this weird crazy stuff that you can only do through the styles panel. Okay? So I'm gonna show you a little demo. Let me see here. I need who's one of the demos? Let me just create a new page. Okay. So with grid, I can drag in a grid and give it a height of the whole page, and now I have a 2x2 grid. But I can edit that however I want. Like, let's do that many columns, this many rows, and let's see here. I want to put this image here, but I want it to span like that. That's cool, something like that. You can do like this. Okay, and I want to, let's go ahead and drag this to this block. Nope. This box. This is why we're still in beta. No, I want you to overlap. There we go. And so I can style this however I want. Let's make this. Oh wait, no. There we go. Make this white. And so what I'm doing is I'm playing around with Flexbox and Grid and making something completely unique. Yeah. So if I want things to overlap or place them in some different way.
Nelson, can you add a grid into
A grid?
a container?
A grid in a grid? Yes, I can.
So you can basically replicate your design software's grid.
Exactly. So if I want to place this somewhere else, I can.
Yeah, create your
I'm just doing some crazy stuff.
whatever design software you can use.
So everything is happening on the canvas rather than me having to play around with this side right here. I don't have to play around with it. Everything's happening on the canvas. And so when I preview it, it's completely customized to what I want. Now for responsive, if I move something around, like I don't want this here, I want this over here. You know, I'll move this down here. See what happens right here? That's what it looks like for that breakpoint. But when I go back to desktop, it goes back to what I wanted.
gonna make it real fast.
And so, also, if I want to go here and I want to add more columns, to this, I can add a column here, or yeah, another column here. But that column is only going from this breakpoint down. So it only shows up here, here, and here, but it doesn't show up on the desktop.
If you add content to the tablet size, will it show up on desktop?
Yes, because you're adding content.
Okay.
But the placement of each content goes in different areas depending on what you want. So with Grid, you're able to focus on more art direction rather than how do I stack the boxes? Because you can just click and drag the boxes wherever you want. So I want to go here and let's see here. Hold on. Let's put this here. I'm gonna put this here. And then here.
Like, make a lot more money. You know, like on the small size,
There. I can't move you. Why?
Especially if you're
And there we go. Now it's more mobile. And there we go. Not the most pretty thing, but something that you can create in Webflow.
I like the overlay.
And you can design it however you want, as long as you put it in a box. And with your box in a box, and that's the web. In the box.
True program.
So you can resize it. You're talking about the right now? So the current version of Webflow that you guys have right now, you don't have access to the grid. So this is just a teaser for you guys.
It's a live preview of the whole site.
Yeah, you can already change it using the styles panel on the right. You can already change the size of your boxes using the width and the heights and all that stuff. But for layouts like this that are customized per breakpoint, you cannot do that yet. But we're working on this, and it should be out sometime next month. But it's one of the biggest features that really empowers designers to just do crazy things. Right? And that's about it. Let me put some URLs on here. So, because I forgot to make a slide. So, let's see. If you need to reach me, you have my card, but there's me. If you need to learn something, university.webflow.com is the best place to start. Please join our community.
Also follow us on Twitter.
Oh yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, thank you so much. So there you go. Thank you so much, guys. We have this place until 8, so if you have questions, I'm here to answer them. But thank you so much.
Beautiful. Yeah.